What is up, UDK Sports Talk family? I wanted to come on here and react to the Mets versus Pirates game that happened yesterday afternoon, in which our New York Mets lost by a score of 4-3 in extra innings. Now, there are a lot of takeaways to come away with from this game. First being, and the most important for me, is Nolan McLean not being sharp with his command of his arsenal in terms of his pitches. He wasn't able to control his fastball yesterday, and he wasn't able to control his sweeper. He looked like a rookie pitcher yesterday. A lot of the things that plagued him in the World Baseball Classic is how he looked yesterday. So it is a drop-off from where he was last year when he came in, because he was commanding his mid-90s, upper 90s sinker and his sweeper, and he was phenomenal. That's what made him truly elite, was the fact that he was able to control his arsenal. So far, early on in the season, and it still is very early, but he is lacking the command of his stuff. And I do believe that in time, that's going to get much better because, listen, I spoke about this before. When you throw mid to upper 90s, when you have that much break on your stuff, you have electric stuff. And command of that stuff is extremely difficult because sometimes you have so much spin rate and so much bite, right? So much run on the sinker, so much bite on the sweeper that, hey, listen, you can't control it. And that happens. But when you look at the bullpen overall, they did a great job. I thought Brosabon came in. I said this in my previous video. I believe that he's going to have an amazing year this year. He, once again, had another great outing. Sean Manaea, I thought, threw pretty well coming out of the bullpen. He did have some traffic flow. He did walk some hitters, so that's been pretty much consistent with how he was as a starter. He didn't have the greatest of command when he was a starter. But I would say this, man. Sean Manaea was throwing 90 miles an hour yesterday. 90. What's it going to be at midway through the season? 88, 87, 90, in that range. I believe for somebody who's making 20+ mil a year, and at the time I didn't disagree with the signing because this man was one of the best pitchers in baseball and you saw the upside. But when you lose the velocity, you lose what makes you special, especially when throwing from that arm slot, because it sneaks up on you throwing from that 3/4 arm slot the way he does throwing across his body. But I thought overall he looked good, and he's going to be a great middle innings guy for us, a guy that could take on some innings, a guy that could go 3 or 4 innings if needed. And I think that his role, even though he's getting paid 20+ mil, I think he's going to be really, really solid. It's just going to be a matter of, can he get that fastball back into that 92, 93 range? Because if he can't, if he's not hitting his spots, remember I said this, pressure burst pipes. You can't spot up, eventually you're going to have to throw something for the hitters to hit, and that's when the opportunities come. But I'm going to give a big shout out to the Pittsburgh Pirates because I thought the Pittsburgh Pirates played really, really, really well yesterday. I thought Moldinsky, I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, I thought he looked electric on the mound. His splitter has so much bite on it. His all speed had a ton of run on it, and he was throwing mid-90s, touching 96 at times, putting the Mets hitters off balance. And I believe that that's why they struck out so much against it, because I want to say last year he didn't even strike out as many players in one game as he did yesterday. But that speed differential, the spin rates, he had the Mets confused all game long. Now, in terms of extra innings, the one thing that kind of upsetted me and I didn't understand truly was in the 9th inning, well, not in the 9th inning, in the 10th inning, right? They went with Lovelady when, in my opinion, you're the home team. I would have went with Devin Williams. I don't know if Devin Williams can't pitch on back-to-backs. I don't know, right? I'm not privy to that information. But I thought that's where Carlos Mendoza made a mistake. I would have went with Devin Williams, knowing that, listen, you got the phantom runner starting at second base in the extra innings. For me personally, I would have loved to keep the game as it was at that current time and move forward, right, at the bottom of the inning and let our hitters dictate the outcome of that game and then come in with Lovelady. I didn't understand that process yesterday, but that ultimately killed the New York Mets yesterday and caused them to lose. Now, I would say this, man, the next takeaway, Bichette getting booed. Listen, I know he struck out 8 times so far in the season, but for me, I'm going to stand on it. How does your approach look? He's still wanting to let that ball come deeper into the zone and pepper it the other way. Listen, I'm not upset at the approach. I've said this to you guys before. I am not opposed to the approach aspect to hitting. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, he's not hitting, he's not making contact. How does the approach look, man? That is why I'm not going to overreact to the Bichette strikeouts, because he has been consistently a great hitter in his career. He's going to turn it around for us. And the approach, most importantly, is the biggest thing. That applies every game. Like I said before, batter's going to go cold, batter's going to go hot. It is what it is. That happens. It's baseball. But how does the approach look? And I'm still going to stand on it. I like what I'm seeing from Bichette because the approach is to look opposite field, hit it up the middle, stay with the line drives. And when you're a line drive hitter, when you hit the ball well, you're going to be in the gaps, and those line drives are going to turn into home runs, and that's when the home runs start coming. So that's how I feel about the Bichette thing. I thought Francisco Lindor played a better game yesterday. I was upset that they didn't hold him up at third base. in extra innings. Juan Soto smoked that ball, and I also thought he had a good game. But you have Bichette up to bat, Jorge Polanco up to bat. Second and third, no outs, or 1 out. Man, roll with your guys. I love the aggressive nature, but also understand who you have up to bat. Just at the top of your lineup, you have your number 3, number 4 hitter coming up to bat, and you send Francisco Lindor. So I did think that it was a frustrating loss yesterday, just because I feel like the Mets coaching staff let them down, in my opinion. I did not agree with the move to go with Lovelady over Devin Williams, and I did not agree to send Francisco Lindor at that moment, just because of the players you had going up behind him. Now, I would say this. When Francisco Lindor led off the inning with a triple, and Juan Soto brought him in with a base hit, that is what the Mets have wanted to see since last year. That type of cohesion. That is what the Mets want, and I hope we see a lot more of that this year. Overall, I thought Jorge Polanco hit the ball well. Obviously, he almost hit it out the park to end the game. It would end like that, right? I thought Luis Roberts swung the bat really, really well yesterday. Brett Beatty did as well. So there are some positive things to take away from this game. But ultimately, the biggest takeaway, very questionable coaching decisions yesterday. But those are my thoughts on the Mets versus Pirates game yesterday. I am encouraged that our bullpen is throwing really, really well right now. Our starting pitching has been pretty good too, I don't want to take away credit from the Pirates, because I did think that the Pirates yesterday played really well. And I thought that they played really well throughout the course of the series. They should have won game 2. They hit the ball well game 2. They just couldn't get the clutch hit. Yesterday, they got the clutch hit. And Brandon Lau absolutely destroyed it. So you got to give credit where it's due, man. The opponent has to say the outcomes of those games too. And the Pittsburgh Pirates came through. They played well yesterday, were well enough to win, and they got the job done. Mets had their opportunities, right? They let 2 of those opportunities go, and that's what happens. When you get your ops, can you cash in on those ops when they present themselves? The Mets did it yesterday, and now they're 2-1. Overall, I liked what I saw from our New York Mets. I'm going to stay consistent with it. This team has the talent offensively and defensively to be one of the best teams in the game this year. It's just going to be a matter of, can our starting pitching hold up, and can our bullpen hold up? And I'll end it like this before I get up and out of here. My concern with the starting pitching is, I feel I come from the old school mindset. So your starters have to go at least 6 innings. You want your 7th inning guy, your 8th inning guy, who's technically going to be your setup man, your closer, to pitch in that order. When you keep going 4 2/3, 4 1/3, 5 innings, you're asking a lot of your bullpen to win you these games. And eventually they're going to get tired, and it's going to catch up just like it did last year. The starters need to go deeper into games, in my opinion. And that's what I'm hoping for this year, because that is going to be the key difference in us being able to maintain our bullpen pitching at a great level, and them deviating down towards the end of the season. Our starting pitcher has to get deeper into the games. But that's all I got for you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and sub to the channel. Check off the bell notification icon to become part of the family. Have a great day, you guys. Let's go Mets.